Letter 104, on caring for health and mental peace, a Stoic perspective on Seneca's marriage. The Stoic reflects on the nuances of marriage in Letter 104, offering insights that resonate with the Stoic philosophy, particularly in the context of Seneca's relationship with his wife, Paulina. In this letter, Paulina's genuine concern for Seneca's health becomes a focal point. Seneca, in response, chooses to prioritize self-care not just for his own well-being, but also to alleviate his wife's worries. A striking facet of this narrative is the reciprocity between Seneca and Paulina. Her care for him serves as a catalyst for his increased self-awareness and concern for his own health. This cyclical reinforcement of affection underscores the Stoic principle that genuine care generates more care. The marital bond, as depicted by Seneca, becomes a source of intimacy and closeness, fostering authentic care. The underlying Stoic principle here is that wisdom entails recognizing one's existence is not solely for individual pursuits, but extends to caring for others. Seneca's disdain for those who choose suicide without considering its impact on loved ones aligns with this principle. He who does not value his spouse or friend enough to linger longer in life, persistently choosing death, is a hedonist. The soul must impose this command upon itself whenever the needs of relatives demand it, pausing to fulfill the wishes of those close and dear, not only when it desires, but even when it begins to fade away. Letter 104, Section 3. Seneca further dismisses the notion that traveling or seeking solace elsewhere is a solution to life's challenges. He argues that the disturbance comes from within, as a man travels along with himself everywhere. The Stoic solution, according to Seneca, lies in facing problems fearlessly. Our lack of confidence is not a result of difficulty. Difficulty arises from our lack of confidence. It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture, it's because we dare not venture that things are difficult. Letter 104, Section 26. The letter concludes by drawing on Stoic examples, with a focus on Marco Cato. In a world marked by ideological polarization, Seneca suggests that choosing between two unfavorable options is a false dichotomy. Cato faced a similar dilemma during the struggle between Caesar and Pompey, but refused to align with either. When Caesar stood on one side with 10 legions under his command, and Pompey stood on the other, Cato alone established a definitive stance for the Republic. And this is the vow he makes regarding both. If Caesar wins, I will kill myself. If Pompey wins, I will go into exile. What would someone fear who, in defeat or victory, had assigned to themselves a fate that could have been assigned by their enemies in their greatest rage? Letter 104, Sections 31-33. On caring for health and mental peace, greetings from Seneca to Lucilius. I retreated to my home in Nomentum. For what purpose, do you think? To escape the city? No. To rid myself of a fever that was surely taking hold of my system. It was creeping upon me. My physician insisted that when circulation is irregular, disrupting the natural balance, illness is on the horizon. Therefore, I ordered my carriage to be prepared immediately and insisted on leaving, despite my wife Paulina's efforts to dissuade me. I recalled the words of my esteemed Gaius, who, when he began to develop a fever in Achaia, boarded a ship immediately, asserting that the ailment was not of the body but of the place. I conveyed this to my dear Paulina, who always implores me to take care of my health. I know that her own breath of life ebbs and flows with mine, and in my concern for her, I am beginning to be solicitous for myself. Though old age has left me brave to endure many things, I am gradually losing this blessing that advancing age bestows. For it comes to my mind that within this old man there is also a young one, and youth requires tenderness. Therefore, as I cannot prevail upon her to love me with more courage, she prevails upon me to be more cautious. For genuine emotions must be embraced. At times, even despite strong reasons, the breath of life must be called back and held on our own lips, even at the cost of great suffering, for the sake of those we hold dear. A virtuous person should not live as long as they wish, but as long as they should. One who does not value their spouse or friend enough to linger longer in life, persistently choosing death, is a hedonist. The soul must impose this command upon itself whenever the needs of relatives demand it, pausing to fulfill the wishes of those close and dear, not only when it desires, but even when it begins to fade away. It shows a great heart to return to life for the sake of others. Noble men have often done this, but I believe this action also signifies the highest form of kindness, that although the greatest advantage of old age is the opportunity to be more negligent about self-preservation and to use life more daringly, one must take care of old age even more diligently. If one understands that this action is pleasing, useful, or desirable in the eyes of a loved one, this is not merely a source of petty joy or profit. For what is more delightful than to be so valued by a spousey that one's own existence becomes more precious for that reason? Hence, my dear Paulina can hold me responsible not only for her fears, but also for mine. Now, are you curious about the outcome of this prescription for travel? As soon as I escaped the oppressive atmosphere of the city and that horrible odor of kitchens, which when in use emit a ruin of noxious vapor and soot, I immediately realized that my health was improving. And how much stronger do you think I felt when I reached my vineyards? Like being led out to pasture, I regularly walked until my meals. So, I am my old self again, feeling no languor in my system or lethargy in my brain. I am beginning to work with all my energy, but the mere place helps little in this purpose, unless the mind is entirely self-mastered and can, at its discretion, find retreat even amid business. However, the man who is always selecting sights and seeking tranquility will always find something to disturb his soul everywhere. Socrates replied, when a certain person complained of not receiving any benefit from his travels, "That serves you right. You traveled the whole time in your own company." Oh, what a blessing it would be for some men to get away from themselves. As they are, they cause themselves annoyance, worry, demoralization, and fear. What profit is there in crossing the sea and going from one city to another? If you want to escape your troubles, you don't need another place but another personality. Perhaps you have arrived in Athens, or perhaps in Rhodes. Choose any country you like. What does your character matter? What importance do the customs of that new city have if you bring your own with you? Suppose you believe that wealth is a good, then poverty will distress you, and, what is more lamentable, it will be imaginary poverty. For you can be rich, and yet, because your neighbor is richer, you will consider yourself poor in the same proportion that you lag behind your neighbor. You may consider your social position as good. You will be vexed at someone else's appointment to the consulship. You will be jealous whenever you read a name several times in the state records. Your ambition will be so frenzied that you will consider yourself last in the race if there is anyone ahead of you. Or you may consider death as the worst of evils, although there is no evil there, except what precedes the arrival of death, fear. You will be frightened not only by the real, but by imagined dangers, and will be forever cast into the sea of illusion. What benefit will then be gained from having passed through so many cities, like Argos, in its flight through the midst of the enemy? For peace itself will provide greater apprehension. Even amid security, you will have no confidence if your mind has already received a shock. Once it has acquired the habit of blind panic, it is incapable of providing even its own safety, for it does not avoid danger but flees from it. However, we are more exposed to danger when we turn our backs. You may judge as the gravest of evils the loss of anyone you love. Yet all this would be no less foolish than mourning, because the trees that attract your eyes and adorn your home lose their foliage. Consider everything that pleases you as if it were a flourishing plant. Enjoy it to the fullest while it is in leaf, for different plants in different seasons must fall and die. But just as the loss of leaves is a light thing, for they are born again, so it is with the loss of those whom you love and consider the delight of your life, for they can be replaced even if they cannot be born again. New friends, however, will not be the same. No, nor will you yourself remain the same. You change with every day and every hour. But in other men, you more easily see what time ravages. In your own case, the change is hidden because it does not occur visibly. Others are snatched from sight. We ourselves are being stealthily taken away from ourselves. You will not think about any of these issues, nor apply remedies to these wounds. By your own will, you will be sowing a crop of troubles through the alternation of hope and despair. If you are wise, mix these two elements. Do not hope without despair, nor despair without hope. What benefit has travel itself ever managed to give to anyone? It has not restrained pleasure, nor curbed desire, nor controlled bad temper, nor annihilated the wild assaults of passion, nor given the opportunity to free the soul from evil. Travel cannot give us insight or rid us of our errors. It only keeps our attention for a moment on a certain novelty, like children stopping to wonder at something unfamiliar. Moreover, it irritates us through the hesitations of a mind suffering from a sharp attack of seasickness. The very motion makes it keener and more restless. Hence the spots that we sought most eagerly, we leave even more eagerly, crossing them flying like birds, departing even faster than we came. What travel will give is familiarity with other nations. It will reveal to you mountains of strange forms, or unknown strata of plain, or valleys watered by perennial streams, or the features of some river that catches our attention. We observe how the Nile rises and swells in the summer, or how the Tigris disappears, running underground through hidden spaces and then appears with great breadth, or how the river Meander, that repeated subject and plaything of poets, turns in frequent curves and often in sinuous twists, approaches its own channel before continuing its course. But this kind of information will not make us better or healthier men. We should spend our time in learning and cultivate those who are masters of wisdom, studying something that has been investigated but not resolved. With this, the mind can be freed from the most miserable servitude and conquer its freedom. Indeed, as long as you ignore what you should avoid or seek, or what is necessary or superfluous, or what is right or wrong, you will not be traveling, but merely wandering. There will be no benefit for you in this running from side to side, for you will be traveling with your emotions and will be followed by your afflictions. Followed? No. In reality, you are carrying them and not leading them. Hence they press on you from all sides, continually annoying and wearing you down. It is for remedy and not scenery that the sick person should seek. Suppose someone broke a leg or dislocated a joint. They do not embark for other regions, but they call the doctor to set the broken limb or move it back to its proper place in the joints. What then? When the spirit is broken or ruined, do you think this change of place can heal it? The ailment is too deep to be cured by a journey. Travel does not make a doctor or an orator. No art is learned simply by living in a particular place. Where is the truth then? Can wisdom, the greatest of all arts, be obtained on a journey? I assure you, travel as much as you want. You can never establish yourself beyond the reach of desire, beyond the reach of bad temper, or beyond the reach of fear. If it were so, the human race would have gathered and journeyed to such a place. Such evils, as long as you carry their causes with you, will overwhelm you and distress you in your wanderings on land and sea. Do you doubt that it is futile to flee from them? That's what you are fleeing from, that which is within yourself. Therefore, reform yourself, remove the burden from your own shoulders, and keep within safe limits the desires that must be removed. Cleanse your soul. If you want to enjoy your travels, make the companion of your travels healthy. While that companion is greedy and sullen, greed will control you. And while you join an arrogant man, his authoritarian ways will be close at hand. Live with an executioner, and you will never be free from his cruelty. If an adulterer is your companion, he will inflame the basest passions. If you want to be rid of your faults, leave behind the examples of faults. The miser, the cheat, the bully, the sadist, who will do you much harm by being near you, are within you. Therefore, change to better associations. Live with the Catos, with the Leli, with the Tuberos, or if you like to live with the Greeks also, spend your time with Socrates and with Zeno. The former will show you how to die if necessary. The latter, how to die before necessity imposes it. Live with Chrysippus, with Posidonius. They will make you know earthly and heavenly things. They will offer you hard work on something more than certain refinements of language and phrases for the entertainment of listeners. They will offer you courage and how to grow in the face of threats. The only safe harbor from the storms of your life is contempt for the future, a steadfast position, a readiness to receive the attacks of fortune directly in the chest without hiding or turning your back. Nature has given us bravery of spirit, and just as she has implanted in certain animals a spirit of ferocity, in others cunning, in others terror, in the same way she has given us an ambitious and lofty spirit that leads us to seek a life of great honor, not the greatest security, which most resembles the soul of the universe, following and imitating as much as our mortal measures allow. This spirit advances forward, confident of success and consideration. It is superior to all, monarch of all it sees. Thus, it should be subordinate.